Screw the rules, they're bored. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now the Tournament of Power is well and truly established. As of episode 106, we are about 16 minutes into the tournament and over half of the actual combatants have been eliminated. However, in the previous episode, something quite significant happened. You might have missed it, but it's gotten most of the YouTube Dragon Ball pundits talking. We have all been talking about one particular notion. Will the Tournament of Power rules actually change? Will the rules change? What are you talking about, Masako? The rules are the rules. If you break them, then you'll be disqualified. Yes, that is absolutely true. Even though he was reluctant to do so, Frieza did toe the line because if he did break the rules, then there would be no chance of him returning to life. Be that as it may, it's one thing to actually follow the rules that have been given to you, but what happens when the person giving you the rules decides to bend them or maybe even break them? So before we begin, let's go over the rules of the Tournament of Power as a refresher just in case you've forgotten. You cannot kill, fly using ki, nor can you use healing items or any kind of weaponry that isn't actually attached to your body. So sorry, no senzu beans here. To actually be eliminated, you have to be hurled from the ring. If you are knocked out or you're actually unable to fight, so if you've been brutally maimed but you're still alive, then you're technically still part of the tournament. Each fighter experiences their home world's actual gravity, so there is no actual bias given to a particular universe or a fighter. If one is at 10 times normal gravity and one's at 2 times, then they both experience the same sensation. The universe with the most remaining fighters, or the last man standing, wins and their universe gets to survive. The MVP of any particular universe that actually survived then gets a wish on the Super Dragon Balls. These rules sound reasonable enough and in fact offer some very good creative thinking. You have to think carefully about who you include in your roster. You could pick a fighter who can actually fly naturally. You can use someone who can actually use ki to heal people. Someone who can actually use instant transmission like the Yardratian or Goku. Somewhere that you can actually use to your advantage in a smart way rather than just having strong people. I'm looking at you, Universe 10. It all provided comfort for any audience member that was going into the Tournament of Power. It was steadfast rules, they were easy to understand, and also provided some good groundwork for potential future arcs going forward. So yeah, okay, good. We know the rules and we can now sit down and watch a tournament arc like we are so accustomed to in Dragon Ball, right? By the time we got to episode 105 though, things were beginning to go amiss. When Roshi used the Mafuba against Dokuri, there began an argument between the gods of destruction Kitela and Beerus. They were actually bickering about whether the actual Mafuba technique was valid or not. Since the bottle was an outside item, it could be considered as an illegal move and therefore Roshi could be disqualified or at least punished. On the other hand, it's not the main component of the technique. It's a ki-based one, and the bottle's just an accessory, so therefore you could say that it would be allowed, so there is a healthy debate going on. But one thing was abundantly clear. It was the kind of debate that wasn't going to be carried out in a civilized and dignified manner. The Omni Kings were consulted, and they deemed that the action was allowed because it looked neat. Fair enough, it was an adjudication that ruled in favor of Master Roshi and the Mafuba. Yeah, sounds pretty clear cut, right? I'm not so sure about that. The crux of the issue is how offhanded the Omni King sounded regarding the validity of the attack. They just went like, yeah, it looked cool, so yeah, it's okay. At first, you might just think that this is some kind of gag. It was the punchline to Kitela and Beerus bickering, but when you actually look at it and concentrate on it, you then begin to think of the ramifications that could ensue going forward. This could lead to a very serious problem to anyone that's still in the tournament. If the Omni Kings witness someone breaking the rules and the Grand Priest or anyone else deem it unacceptable and therefore worthy of disqualification, the Omni Kings could just overrule that and say, wow, that looks so cool. Yeah, I want that fighter to stay in. So yeah, okay, they can do it just fine, no problem. They can deem any misdemeanor acceptable so long as it looked cool. Even if the Grand Priest were thinking, yeah, I think this is against the rules, we really should disqualify them. If the Omni Kings were pleased, then that's all that matters. The two Zenos are the boss. Who's gonna actually question them? No one, that's whom. And what's more, these two pint-sized figureheads are very, very easily impressed, and that is very, very dangerous. That's already setting off alarm bells. So long as you do something flashy or with some kind of flourish, and it was just really, really spectacular, then you can pretty much do anything you want in theory. This could play into the hands of someone like Frieza. He stated in episode 95 that his intentions were to actually exploit the foibles of the gods, because it was quite clear that they did because of Beerus's bickering with Goku, and therefore take all the power and corrupt the system from within. All for his own personal gain. Frieza would rule the roost. For example, he could cure his itch of killing people by actually doing so with some kind of flourish and sophisticated action, and then go, "Oh, oops, my finger slipped, tee-hee, sorry about that." If they're okay with it, then everyone else has to be okay with it, and they all have to face the consequences. The Omni Kings, they can just kick back and say how much of a great time they're having. Is this going to happen immediately? Are we about to enter a very big period of chaos in the Tournament of Power? Not just yet, I don't think it's imminent. Episode 105 was just the beginning. It starts with, oh, a little bottle here, a little fumble there, oh, an accidental killing there, oh, everybody gets a kill, and then eventually we might see all of the rules being nixed entirely and everyone can just go at it without a care in the world. Now, could this be the terrible thing that was alluded to when we were actually introduced to the key visual back in June of Goku's very muscular back, and potentially a new transformation? Could this be the beginning of Goku's latest power acquisition? Goku's new power will be unleashed in the face of something grave happening, or prior to something grave happening. That actually gets me thinking about something. Why is the no killing rule there in the first place? Well, the answer is simple. Without it, there would be absolute and utter bedlam. And the tournament would be really, really short. The weaker fighters would be decimated within seconds. Universe 9 wouldn't even get a look in. And they were already eliminated pretty early on, within like a few minutes. The rule to ban any kind of killing meant that the top tier fighters couldn't actually go all out. They had to think carefully about what they were going to do. They had to rein it in so that the weaker fighters could actually stand a chance. But then again, the whole point was that means people would die anyway, so why would you have no killing before earlier? What? It's very weird for immortal beings to actually enforce this. But then again, if you did allow killing, then the likes of Hit could just jump about the actual arena, use their time skip ability, and then just kill everyone within the matter of a couple of seconds, almost instantaneously in fact. Frieza would have once again demonstrated his 10-finger death beam and taken out multiple people, because especially those are homing beams. It's pretty much unstoppable. And then you could have the likes of Vegeta just bandying about the arena, just blasting everyone nonsensically just to get things over with already. So that means he can go back to tending to bra. At the same time, if the no killing rule was actually removed, then the weaker fighters would be left paralyzed with fear. They would be left completely in the middle of danger, unable to do anything. Their fighting capacity would be minimal to non-existent. Something you need to also consider is that the concept of mortality is very alien to non-mortal beings. The Omni King isn't used to the idea because, hey, he's the king, he can do what he wants, he lives forever. He makes the rules or gets other people to do it for him so he can just sit around and play. Having his amusement being restricted by some kind of weird and unusual rules and the like, it must be very frustrating for the guy. Something that they can barely handle and eventually will get tired of. But hey, I'm not showing any kind of sympathy here. The rules are the rules. Throughout the entire arc, the Grand Priest has been the one actually talking about the rules and saying what works and what doesn't, actually been talking on the Omni King's behalf. They barely said anything other than, "Wow, so cool! Yeah, okay, safe! Yeah, other one-worded answers." Basically, the rules are pretty much copy-paste from any other kind of mortal fight. The biggest threat to the fighters of the Tournament of Power are the Omni Kings themselves. Not only are they completely okay with erasing universes that have been eliminated from the fight, but they also seem to be demonstrating behaviour implying that they are now getting tired of the rules being enforced, despite the fact that we're only a third of the way into the tournament, and really, there's still a long way to go. These rules govern the smooth running of the tournament, and if they're gone, then oh boy, okay. Who's to say that they might just say, okay, the rules don't apply anymore, pretty much everyone can go nuts. If it looks cool, then they would have the approval of the doctrine from the man upstairs in this case. Not good for most, but for Frieza, it's pretty much perfect. Lately, he's been unusually quiet, save for a couple of sassy insults around episode 102. Other than that, we've barely seen him. With the preview for episode 107, it showed copious amounts of Frost, and given that the fact that Frost and Frieza are working together, could their plan that we saw off-screen being formed actually be taking effect in the next episode? Could the catalyst for Goku's new transformation be Frieza? Might he have killed someone by accident, or gone insane, or gone completely out of control, or maybe one of Goku's other allies might have been killed? There's a lot of questions still up in the air about this, but one thing's for sure, the Omni Kings will most likely have something to do with it. All bets are off now. The fate of everybody concerned with the Tournament of Power is now an uncertainty. Maybe the 4 universes that are sitting pretty thinking that they're not going to be affected, they're exempt from the Tournament of Power, might be hurled into the fray and left flailing and actually be made an example of. They might be in danger too. Every single universe might be on the line. We don't know now. It's completely left in the lap of the gods. Literally. This could all be for some unknown and arbitrary reason, all for the sake of the Omni King's irrational and irresponsible and immature enjoyment. I think it's now gotten to a point where not even the GP can rein them in. If you went into the Tournament of Power thinking that this would be just another cookie-cutter tournament arc, then think again. But okay, I might be getting ahead of myself here. This might all actually turn out to be one massive, giant, absolutely catastrophic red herring. Toei may be shrewd to all the pundits out there on the internet talking about the Tournament of Power. This sparks more debate about Dragon Ball Super, the Tournament of Power, Goku's new transformation, their behavior and the sanity of the Omni Kings, the actual outcome of this arc. There are so many topics to be had now by just one sentence. Now call me cynical, but Toei isn't exactly averse to unusual and weird and quite original means of self-promotion. Then again, some people may not have even noticed the line the Omni King said and just rendered Roshi's actions as completely acceptable and moved on. Their reasoning would just be thinking that the bottle isn't exactly a weapon per se, it's just an accessory in the Martha Burr the attack itself, so therefore it's fine. If Roshi just so happened to have a bottle on his possession when he actually came to the actual arena, then fine, it's just a coincidence. When they actually said this line, they provided a detailed and well thought out account about their reasoning, then I really wouldn't have any worries at all. Saying something is neat is distinctly informal and rudimentary. We are left here with childlike figures who have ungodly powers. Oh boy. In the end, we just have to keep watching and see where this is going to go. No matter what the outcome is, it's good to have debate about such matters. It's healthy, it's completely natural, and it's pretty fun. Dragon Ball is stimulating conversation, and ultimately, that is the thing that is going to ensure the long-term survival of this very franchise. So what do you guys think? Do you think the rules will change? Do you want them to change? Leave a comment below, and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!